Our
Yes,
next speaker is Dr. S.S. Mishra, and he would be talking about microsurgical excision of spinal intramedullary hemangioblastoma.
Yes,
Dr. Mishra, please.
Dr. Mishra here.
Yes.
Uh, good morning, everyone. Let me share my screen. I'll give a live presentation. Is it visible?
Yes,
no,
sir.
screen is not
The screen
visible.
is not
You
visible.
are visible.
Just a minute, sir. Sir, is it visible now?
No,
Yes. Now is it visible?
hopefully now it is visible. Yeah.
Yes. Sorry for delay. So, good morning, everyone. My topic of discussion is microsurgical excision of spinal intramedullary hemangioblastoma. So, this is a tumor which is often found in spinal cord, and this is hemangioblastomas. Two-thirds are sporadic, and the peak presentation is in fourth decade. And sporadic hemangioblastomas are rare in children, and these are more frequent in males than in females. So it's more often associated in one-third cases. It is associated with von Hippel-Lindau syndrome, and if multiple lesions are present, we can suspect this syndrome. And one-third of patients with hemangioblastoma, not just the spinal, have von Hippel-Lindau, and typically these patients present earlier with multiple tumors. So this is about the von Hippel-Lindau syndrome. This is an autosomal dominant disorder, and this syndrome predisposes to multi-organ cystic and neoplastic lesions. And extra nervous system manifestations include multiple hemangioblastomas, renal cysts, renal clear cell carcinoma, pheochromocytoma, endolymphatic sac tumors, and cystadenoma of other organs. CNS hemangioblastomas are the most characteristic nervous system manifestations and most occur in the cerebellum and the spinal cord. So in location, this is found exclusively, near exclusively over 95% in the cerebellum, brainstem, and the spinal cord. Only 5% is found in supratentorial compartment, and this is 10% in the VHL, 10% in supratentorial compartment in VHL disease. 2 to 10% of all primary spinal cord tumors are hemangioblastomas. And in clinical presentation, this is similar to that of other intramedullary spinal tumors with pain, weakness, and sensory changes are very common. And rarely, spinal hemangioblastomas may cause subarachnoid hemorrhage or hematomelia. The hemangioblastomas are benign vascular lesions, do not undergo malignant degeneration, and it's a WHO grade 1 tumor as per the 2016 WHO classification. Histologically, they consist of large, pale stromal cells packed between blood vessels. This most common location is in the thoracic cord 50%, followed by cervical cord 40%. The majority of the hemangioblastomas, that is two-thirds, located eccentrically, commonly along the dorsum of the cord. This is posterior to the ligamentum denticulatum. Commonly, very rarely it is anterior, and they have an intramedullary and an exophytic component. Only 25% are entirely intramedullary. So, in the imaging, if we do a mid-sagittal T1 weighted contrast of the spine, we can this picture shows mid-sagittal T1 weighted contrast of a 50-year-old man with VHL disease. So the hemangioblastomas are located one in a C56 posteriorly, but still there is a very small posterior at the level of the C2 level. So we should always clean out the spine for multiple lesions. And in this, sorry. So you can see that if you do a C1, T1 weighted image, you can find out a contrast enhancing lesion, and in a T2, you will find out the edema both superiorly and inferiorly. So if you do an angiogram, a densely enhancing nidus with a associated dilated arteries and prominent draining veins is a characteristic of the hemangioblastoma. In the CT scan, non-contrast CT may be seen as a soft tissue nodule, often with a prominent hypodense cyst-like component. Contrast administration results in vivid enhancement of the solid component. And the MRI is the main investigation. Although they usually appear as discrete nodules, they can be diffuse cord expansion. An associated tumor cyst or a syrinx is very common, and additionally, they may rarely be a source of subarachnoid hemorrhage or hematomyelina. So reported signal characteristics are T1 weighted. As I told, rarely it can be hyperintense, but commonly it is hypo or isointense. And in T2, iso to hyperintense may be found. So focal phleboids, especially in the larger lesions, surrounding edema and associated syrinx are usually seen. Hemosiderin capping may be present. So the T1 contrast with gadolinium, the tumor nodule enhances vividly, and as you can see this in this MRI, but the care should always be taken to screen out the whole neuraxis. The hemangioblastomas are very slow growing. They are usually treated by surgical resection. The differential diagnosis can be thought of in two groups, account for the principal features. One, differential diagnosis basing on the neoplasm of the spinal cord, that is the enhancing component, and the other depending upon the vascular malformation of the spinal cord. So ideally, it should be preoperatively, it should be differentiated from other lesions. So these are other lesions which are very much confused with hemangioblastomas. And these are the vascular malformations which are confused with the spinal hemangioblastomas. And this is an intra picture which shows that the hemangioblastoma is a very bright red or orange yellow with the high lipid content of their stromal cells and are invariably associated with large tortuous arterialized draining veins. So the histology is shows that the hemangioblastoma stromal cells, there are stromal cells, and these are stromal cells and there are endothelial cells. The operative part, very often we do laminectomy because the tumor is posterior. Sometimes because of the vascular supply, in order that the microsurgery can be best, we do laminectomy. But we have tried in few cases, we have tried with a hemilaminectomy if the tumor is located to the one side. So the operating microscope with high resolution or high zoom is used to identify associated vessels and the tumor. The tumor exposed by reflecting the overlying vessel with a gentle traction. The vessels entering and leaving the tumor are coagulated with a bipolar coagulation and sharply divided. The junction between the pia and the tumor capsule is identified and incised with a diamond knife and a microcisor. So the dissection of the tumor more deeply and circumferentially at the tumor capsule on the spinal cord interface with a bipolar microforceps is important, and after circumferential dissection of the tumor margin is complete, the surgeon has to reflect the inferior pole of the hemangioblastoma with a gentle suction on a cottonoid to expose the underlying vessels. Here you can see the connecting vessels after the resection of the tumor. And so this is a very old paper way back in 1976 by Yazergil and et al. About the microsurgical dissection. And to conclude, the hemangioblastomas are benign vascular neoplasm of the CNS that occurs sporadically or in the context of a VHL disease. Because of their location and related tumor or peritumoral cyst mass, these lesions can underlie significant neurological morbidity. Although surgery is the treatment of choice for most hemangioblastoma, the indications for treatment differs depending on the clinical circumstances. So thank you all, and wish you a best time during these pandemic periods. Thank you all.